Hey everyone, I'm John,
I'm Brian.
and this is another episode of Commander Chats. So, today we are going to be talking about our favorite products of 2024. There was a lot of products that came out, some good, some not so good. Um, and we're just gonna give some of our thoughts, some of our feedback, uh maybe not feedback. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of feedback. It's just gonna be our thoughts. It's just gonna be spewing things and taking it as it was. But first, before we get into stuff we loved, let's just give a dishonorable mention each. Brian, I'm gonna let you do the first one.
Okay, yeah, you were seething real hard
I
about
was
yours earlier,
I
so
was
I can dive like gently get us into there while you while you bite on yours.
all right.
I'm gonna say my most disappointing moment this year for me was probably the Marvel Secret Lair drop.
Mm,
Um, that one was like the cards are great. I love the new cards, the Captain America, Storm, Wolverine. They're all great cards, but just the execution of how they did that is really upsetting. And them releasing a letter alongside saying, "Hey, it might be a while before, or even never before we reprint these in universe, right?"
yeah.
And that plus the fact that they weren't print to order, they were just a limited amount, is really kind of weaselly in my eyes.
Yeah,
So that, yeah,
yeah, that hurts because there's so many people that were so excited that spent so much time trying to get these products, and through no fault of their own, they're just not able to, and it feels so bad.
yeah.
One, they were more expensive than every other secret layer so far. Some of them had fewer cards than other secret layers. It's just, man,
Plus,
it's
with the lottery system of like the Groot extra cards, like if you bought
mm,
a whole pack, you there's no guarantee that you got every single card that was a part of that. So it's just frustrating how they handled it. And they
yeah.
probably probably makes sense business wise. They probably sell more secret layers if they have a limited quantity up front, but they probably could have sold a lot more with certain IPs, and this one included.
I don't think it's
Um,
about selling more. I think it's just like, hey, we sold out of this product right away.
yeah,
It's like instead of hey, we had like 80,000 orders, it's like we sold out of our 10,000 orders right away.
yeah.
They would have made more money definitely if everyone who wanted to buy one could have bought one.
It is just sad.
It
I
is.
mean, but hey, the you can always proxy, and my
Yeah.
as long as your friend groups are cool, that's great too. So I'm
Yeah.
not too butthurt about it. It has really been a great year, and Magic. But before we get into that, why don't you tell me
Oh
what's making
man.
you mad over there?
I have to talk about the Assassin's Creed. One, the epilogue boosters, a terrible idea. You
Yeah.
have it's basically the price of a full size pack with less than half the stuff in it. They did that with the Assassin's Creed. They probably contractually obligated. I get it, but then it was overpriced. I think I saw booster packs, like the 5 card packs for like $8. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is stupid. There's no
Wow.
no reason you should ever buy this. Collector booster packs, I think, are still overpriced, and no one's buying them. It's just, I think it would have been an awesome Commander product. That is what it should have been, and the fact they goobered their way into the freaking epilogue system is just,
Gilbert.
yes, that's basically what it was, because they fumbled so bad. Like no one,
Yeah.
like there are so many really good cards in the set that no one knows about because of how the set came out. Like no one wanted to pay those prices for an inferior product. Like no one wants to buy the March of the Machines epilogue. You can get a booster box of that. I know you could get it for like $30, I think.
Yeah.
Like they're like really cheap. But like when you open a pack, like you get like 4 or 5 of the same card. Like notoriously, I opened a pack and I had like 3 or 4 filter out cards. Like the same card, different treatment, but it's like it just doesn't feel good. I
No,
never
I
opened a
hear you.
pack of the Assassin's Creed because I knew it was just going to be bad. But so I don't have personal experience, but I just hate the way it was handled. One, the IP is old. No one super cares about Assassin's Creed anymore. It's not like the era of Black Flag or anything where it's really hype. They've Ubisoft has fumbled a few times in recent years. So I don't know.
Tell us how you really feel, John.
I just like the only Assassin's Creed I've played is the first one, and I
Sure.
didn't get far into it. So I don't feel strongly about the IP. I think it's a cool setting. There's a lot of different timelines where it could have been really cool, but the fact that they had to release it this way instead of the Commander products, and we will be talking about a much better handled Universes Beyond set later. Spoilers,
Yeah,
but
I would agree with that to an extent. I mean, I think you're claiming that, you in particular don't really care about Assassin's Creed. Totally your shtick. I have a good friend who grew up with those games and plays Magic, loves Magic, and was like, wow, this is a really cool set. The way that it was executed by Wizards, yeah, probably not the best.
Yeah,
but
like
lots of really cool cards, and the flavor was really there. And with all these universes beyond, there's always so much love put in. So there is positive to
Yeah,
it. There was
no.
great cards. It's just the execution,
yeah,
really.
for sure. There are a lot of good cards in the set. It's just the way the set itself was handled. I just think it should have been a Commander set, like, Doctor Who, Fallout. Like both of those, I feel like were handled. They still had collector boosters where they sold out immediately. If we're talking about Fallout, you couldn't find Fallout collector boosters, but you could get everything you needed from the Commander decks. And I think that not doing that with Assassin's Creed and having this thrown together stuff, it's just not that great.
Well, let's try to wash some of that
Yeah.
salt down with
Right.
some sugar.
Right. Let me just
into-
wash my palate real quick.
Yeah, cleanse it with some goodness from this year. What's your favorite thing that came out of this year?
Oh man, there are so many good. But let me start with one of the good ones. It's not like my favorite. I really. Actually,
Okay.
I said I wasn't going to start, but I'm going to start really strong. I think the Fallout Commander decks was like top tier handling of Universes Beyond.
I agree.
There was secret layer stuff that you could do. I thought that was cool. There was some chase cards. When you mentioned the Groot stuff, I was like, well, they did that with Fallout. I think there was a mana vault, right? Mana crypt.
Yeah.
That was like special. That was like really expensive that they put in some of them, but not all of them. But like, so you could buy all the precons, and that means you had every card in the set. Like there was nothing you needed outside of that. But if you wanted to bling it out, you could buy the collector booster boxes and then bling it out. They had reprints in there that were not unique cards, but they had special treatments and some. I just think that while I do like some of the decks, I kind of haven't played them as much because I just, the products keep coming, so you got to keep moving, right?
Yeah.
So
There is that constant slog of product coming.
Right.
But Fallout has had some great cards,
Yeah,
right? Any sort of enchantment or equipment deck. I see tons of cards from that set that just are so good for it. Any mill deck is using rad counters,
Yeah.
right? Any
Yeah.
energy deck has been forever changed by that and the Modern
Madison Lee,
Horizons.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they were strong precons. For the most
Mhm.
part, they were really good. The Caesar one was really good. I've played that one before. The Mothman one was really good. I've lost to the dog meat precon a couple times.
Yeah, they're good.
I haven't not too much experience with the Madison Lee one, but if you threw that together with the Modern Horizons energy precon, that was a pretty nasty deck. But by itself, it was probably the weakest of them. But still, giving new support for energy, which is a loved mechanic by some people, I'm sure.
Not by you, apparently.
It's before my time. I like the Satya or whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
Satya is
pretty
great, and I think Modern Horizons 3 did do a lot of good things. If we want to segue into that, Satya, one of my favorite commanders, just because doesn't have to be an energy commander. I think I even on the channel I did the Templar Knight deck that was a
Mm.
Satya deck, and I have my own Satya deck that I've sort of reskinned as like a Metroid, and it's Samus Aran instead of Satya. So
I also love the Modern Horizons 3. Was it expensive? Yeah, it was. But the cards were really good. They had a lot of the planeswalkers were really good. The ones that flipped into planeswalkers, like
yeah,
the Sorin was really cool. The Tamio was pretty good.
the new MDFCs they added
Yeah, there's a
like
lot of
three
those.
more to each color and a
Uh,
bunch of dual color
yes,
ones. It
I
was just
I run lots of
yeah,
those. Recons for the most part were really solid.
yeah.
They had Eldrazi support. The Void 5-color Eldrazi, it's really cool now. Echoes of Eternity is probably one of the craziest freaking cards for Eldrazi.
That may have been a mistake, but a fun card if you're the one
All
playing
right.
it. That's for sure.
Yes, yes. There's like Aslask. It's a cool
Yeah.
card. There's a lot of cool stuff.
Hmm.
There's some, people's power crap, modern. I don't play modern, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
It
Didn't
wasn't
affect us as much, right? Yeah, because
right.
we're definitely commander
Right.
focused. But I think Modern Horizons 3 definitely did so good in the cool factor. But I think the
Mm,
most popular set of the year and my favorite product of the year has to go to Bloomburrow. I mean, Bloomburrow just had so much good stuff going for it.
yeah.
From the precons, each precon was amazing.
Hmm.
They do great stuff out of the box, and they're cool. And they had the alt art for those planeswalkers, which is super neat. Um, you know, everything in the set was really cool. There was lots of new, unique strategies that Bloomburrow brought to the table, whether it was, different ways to utilize food or new, tribes or kindred cards to use. There was just a lot of new stuff added that I really liked.
Yeah. So Bloomburrow is really cool. Is a lot of people felt like it was back to Magic. It wasn't silly. We weren't playing detectives or cowboys anymore. We were actually on a plane that felt, even though everything was animalized and anthropomorphic animals and stuff, like
Sure.
people felt like more connected to it. The aesthetic was cuter. There was some really cool legendary creatures for Commander. We've got we've got Igra, we've got Maha, the owl, we've got even the Calamity Tide. That one had some pretty cool stuff with the flood counters and islands and stuff. And then like all the red and the mice. People love mice, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Mice got a lot of support. All
right.
those, kindred types got support. The infamous Cruel Claw, a crazy commander as well. Squirrels got a ton of more support. They needed it.
Yeah. You got Balin.
But
I love Balin. Balin is really good. Naya commander. Tokens.
yeah,
You got to make tokens. It uses tokens for mana, draws, or to buff himself. It's just and then it had the really high end art treatments, the anime style. Like the Balin was one that looked kind of like
yeah.
Cinderace. There's a few
Lots
more.
of really cool things that to come out of that set, and it was probably the most popular of the year.
Hmm.
I think, like you said, people were thinking is a return of Magic, and every product that came out of it was just a fun time. I had a great time in my pre-release when I went to that, and obviously I got the Squirrel Precon, and I want to get the Raccoon Precon if I can get my hands on
Yeah,
it. But
yeah, Bello, that's a cool. I built a deck based off just of my opening. I opened a box and built a deck out of it. And
oh, nice.
yeah, I had a Muera Trash Tactician. The deck is really
Hmm.
bad, but I was trying to go with Raccoon type. The gifting mechanic is interesting. You get extra effects by benefiting someone else, so you could be targeting one player but gifting someone else maybe who's behind, so it doesn't feel as bad to give them a draw, or like a tapped fish, who cares, or a food, like whatever. the,
Yeah,
the the
no,
worst one is the gift a draw. You give them a card and they draw a card.
yeah. But at the same time, that's a great way to politic in Commander because you could give the card to anyone. It could be someone who's behind, like, hey, I'm doing this for you. And then they can scratch your back down the line. So definitely a fantastic mechanic, I think, to add to the format and really just a great product overall. What would you say your favorite product is of the year?
Favorite product? It's tough. It's tough because I think Outlaws of Thunder Junction had a lot of really strong cards in it. I
Okay.
really do feel like, as far as power, I feel like Outlaws probably had some of the more powerful cards. Um,
Yeah, that with the big score, right? That
yes, the
there
big
definitely was a
score.
lot of good stuff out of there.
Right. The fact that they kind of threw them together, a lot of the big score cards were really good. You got Vaultborn Tyrant, that's a really crazy good card. And there's even some of the lesser ones, like was it Nexus of Beginnings or something? Get
Oh
exile
yeah.
something from your hand and it comes in as a token, like a 3/3 copy of it. Like it's for free. I mean it's a 6 cost artifact or whatever, but like get stuff out of your hand for free, like for get like what is it? Portal to Phyrexia. It's like it's a 3/3 and it still comes in with all of its effects.
Is strong what does it for you? Is that what makes it a good product? Is it being strong?
And it was a lot of fun actually for me to play with. Like I not so much the theming of the cards, like I don't care about the cowboy aesthetic, but like a lot of the cards were cool. They've got like what is it? uh Honest Rutstein discounted all your cards, bring something back. Like there's a lot of cool stuff. I think the join up cards were pretty cool that had effects when legendaries enter.
Yeah.
Um
The
like
spree cards are really
yeah,
unique and
spree.
cool as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Love that mechanic. Yeah, no,
Like
I think it was a great set. I think this year in general was great for
and
Magic. Go ahead.
and as far as legendary creatures go, I think this had the most legendary creatures out of any set that dropped this year. I think it was like 40 something, which is an absurd amount. So, like, you had Roxanne. I love Roxanne. Creates little meteorites when she comes in.
Yeah.
I play that card on Arena all the time. She leads my Gruul Dragons deck. It's just, it's so cool. Like I don't know. There's a bunch of cool stuff like
Of course.
the lizard Jasper Flint.
Yep.
That's
Laughing Jasper Flint.
Yeah, laugh is pretty annoying. The new Marchesa was kind of cool. It gives you card advantage every time you commit crimes. Committing crimes is a pretty cool mechanic too. Uh, Most of what decks want to do is target other players' stuff, so it is so easy to make that a mechanic because a lot of stuff is like committing a crime, like
Yeah.
and then getting advantage off of doing something you're going to do anyways is just a nice idea. It had a lot of stuff on counting like how many spells you cast, like casting twice a turn. You can get mercenaries. Mercenary tokens are kind of meh. I think they should be instant speed, but hey, whatever. You can't have your cake and eat it too, I guess.
Yeah, I think being able to get everyone involved, because targeting something is committing a crime. So now it becomes a joke around the table of, oh, you've committed this crime against me, right? Because people already acted that way, but now it legitimately is committing a crime. So I think that's funny, and that adds a whole new flavor and lightheartedness to the game
Yeah.
that maybe wasn't there before. So I agree with that take.
Yeah.
I think Outlaws of Thunder Junction was really good there. Just moving on to Duskmourn, and Duskmourn also added a bunch of cool stuff too. The room mechanic was really sweet.
Room mechanic.
There's not a ton of legendary creatures in there, but the ones that are in there are very unique and cool. The precons are also really solid for Duskmourn too. And they really just, even though they are shifting more towards Universes Beyond, the sets that are Magic based, I think, are hitting.
With Duskborn, it was actually really hard to build a cohesive strategy. There were a lot of cool stuff, like Toby makes imaginary friend the beastie. There's Kona, which you did a really awesome deck tech on. Then there's the Nico, the one that makes the shards that can turn into another creature. There's a lot of cool, like Meat Here Massacre 2. Like there's a lot of cool cards. There's one that's like it's like an X enchantment where you can put X into it and it deals damage to creatures, and then it also doubles the amount of damage your sources deal. So there's there's a lot of cool stuff in Duskborn. I think the aesthetic of it is like the 80s. Like I'm a sucker for like the 80s stuff, but at the same time it doesn't feel very magic. But like Valgavoth is sick. I think it's a sick cool idea. The whole trapped in the mansion horror themes I think was really cool. All the fear cards, like they're really interesting mechanic wise. Like Fear of Burning Alive is like one I like really like, because it just burns people, literally.
Yeah, having the fears be enchantments is really unique. I think one of the highlights of this set is bringing Arch Enemy back to the precons, because my friends started getting into Arch Enemy, and you know, some of them love it, some of them hate it. But it can be a nice way to make games go quicker for sure.
I've played a couple Arch Enemy games on the channel. Those are the only Arch Enemy games I've played, but I used the Lord of Pain. I used the Valgavoth precon with the backup commander.
That's a good one.
I destroyed as the Arch Enemy, because every time either any of them cast a spell, I could burn them with their own spell because they're each individual players.
Yeah.
And then I'd burn them on my turn. And it's just, that precon is really fun. It's an easy way to get hated out of the game because it is really gnarly if you get it going. But I've had so much fun playing that. Lightly upgraded recently.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you have anything else on the best products of 2024 list, but this is the year that I joined the channel, so I gotta say this channel is probably my favorite product of 2024.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun having you making content with me. It's been a blast. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we've talked about almost every product. We didn't even talk about Foundations.
No, we sure didn't. We don't have to. It's going to be around for the next 5 years. We don't need to talk about it.
It's true. But I mean, as far as the reprint set goes, I think that had a lot of good reprints in it. Maybe doubling season being in packs for the next 5 years is always going to make me happy as a token player.
I think it was a great way to round out the year. Foundations, and get us back on track, and get us ready for, I think, Aether Drift is the next set to come out next year.
Remastered.
I'm not counting that.
You're not counting the remastered set? I'm excited. I want it.
Yeah, Innistrad has got some great stuff. Innistrad, one of my favorite blocks. Crimson Vow and the Midnight Hunt kind of were a disappointment for me, but everything else from Innistrad has been on point. So hoping for the best, but you know, that's a whole other video, right? Talking about what we're looking forward to this next year.
You don't want to keep track of the day-night mechanic for the next few years? No? All right, fair enough. All right, well, on that note, we're going to end the video. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week.